Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another full movie breakdown. And I am joined once again by the very talented Owen Quinn. How are you, Owen?
I'm grand. That 50 quid will be in the post for yourself. That will compliment.
Only, only,
It's a,
only,
only 50.
only
All
50.
right, well, yeah, you
Right.
charge for words, you see. So the more words and the longer the compliment, you get more. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm literally in from work from a lovely sunny day here in Belfast.
Nice.
Um, for the first, and now that's the second day of sun.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Well,
Hopefully, this is the start of it all.
I was recently told by the doctor that I have very low vitamin D, so I'm trying to get as much of that sun as possible.
Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
so
don't run out. Just don't run out in the street the way I did the other day. Take my shirt off now, and women start screaming and run away.
I def
Shocking.
I definitely will not. I learn from your mistakes. So we're talking about Final Destination.
Yes.
So as always, we'll start off by giving a brief rundown of what it's all about, and then we'll dig into it in more detail. So what is Final Destination all about? Well, the premise is there's a bunch of teenagers and they're all going on a school trip to Paris. Um, when they get on the plane, one of them, Alex, our main character, our protagonist, has a premonition and he sees that the plane crashes and blows up all dramatically. So he gets off the plane, he manages to save a couple of people, but during the movie, everyone who got off the plane starts dying in the order that they would have died in the plane crash or plane explosion, rather. Because death has a design and he's going to rectify the mistake that was made. And I think that this is a really neat concept. I've always liked the concept of this movie. What do you think?
Did you know the original concept was to actually have a killer
I
as
heard,
as the thing? Yeah.
I
And then
heard,
I thought it would be much more fun to have nothing and just have death itself as the force.
yeah,
In it rather than thing. And you sort of look at it and go, that I'm glad they didn't do the killer bit
yeah.
and they just did this part because I thought it was much more effective. But
There,
we'll go into that a bit more.
yeah, yeah. Actually, we could dig into that now because there's a few scenes where you do see a shadowy figure or
Yeah,
a reflection,
yeah.
and I heard that during it, they were at points they were undecided whether to make death an actual physical figure or not. And like yourself, I'm glad they didn't because I think it's very effective.
Yeah. I think do you know what it is? The one part that springs to mind is the guy that was killed in the shower. There was hung in the shower. You get his neck wrapped around the shower head
Yeah,
where the water, he slipped on the water that was on the floor. And then once he was dead, it retracted as if death was cleaning up the scene
yeah,
to make it look like a suicide rather than he'd killed him.
yeah.
And and you look at it and you go, freaky accident. And that could happen in real life. The water might disappear, obviously, but it's the fact death is covering up its own tracks
Yeah.
and everything that happens. So it's a bit OTT.
Well, I'm
Um,
really excited to go into that because
yeah,
I think some of the deaths are really elaborate and really fun. But we'll dig
yeah,
into that. So, first thing I want to talk about is the opening. So, the opening credits of this movie are very ominous and there's a lot of foreshadowing. The movie really wants you to know that something bad's about to happen. There's no doubt that something bad is going to happen. Um, I do think some of the foreshadowing goes into the realm of comical. What do you think at the opening?
in what way?
Just some of it is very like right. There's one scene where the kid Alex is packing his suitcase, getting ready to go on the trip, and there's a few things in that scene that are very like obvious foreshadowing. And the dad goes to him. Um, he goes, "What is it?" He says, "Lap it up, Alex. You've got your whole life ahead of you." And the way he says it, I think is just hilarious. Because I'd be like, "Dad, why did you say that like that?
Yeah,
like,
about to go on a plane.
like
That's
what?"
like that horror. That's like the horror trope where they go, they're all in a haunted place or in the killer's lair, and they
Yeah,
go, let's split up.
yeah.
Don't
But
think so.
but
No, no.
The way he says it and the look in his voice, I'd be like, Dad, why did you say that like
Yeah,
that?
he's put the scud on. Then, but I mean, you hear about that in real life. Who was it? Do you know Johnny Rotten, the lead singer of the Sex Pistols?
Yeah.
John Lydon. He was actually supposed to be on Lockerbie, the plane crash that happened years ago over Scotland,
Right,
and
I didn't know
they
that.
they had a feeling not to go on it, and they didn't. And what happened happened, and that I think it was one of the 9/11s planes. There was somebody else famous was supposed to go on and had missed the connecting flight or something,
Right.
and just pure chance he didn't. He wasn't on the plane. But it's when you're looking at that final destination thing, you're sort of looking, well, those stories are going through your head.
Yeah.
That happened in real life. That happened in real life. Flying doesn't bother me at all.
I thought it would. I was actually really afraid to get on a plane at first, but now I would get on one with very little bother.
Oh yeah, yeah. Very first time, terrifying. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
um,
don't know what it was. I was just fucking petrified about getting onto a plane. But
yeah.
I, I did, and now I would get on one, no problem.
I think it's getting well, unlike a roller coaster, which I did try once, as we said the last time. I'm not doing that again. Um, the first time I did it, as I said, absolutely petrified, and now I want the window seat
Yeah.
because I'm terrified of heights. Yet it's a contradiction in terms. I want to see out the window to that big drop.
Yeah. Well, do you know
It's
what?
really bizarre.
It almost doesn't seem real. When you're looking down, it almost doesn't seem real to me that you're up that high.
Yeah, because you don't feel yourself moving, really,
Yeah.
unless there's turbulence. That's
There's
different.
there's another bit of foreshadowing that I thought was quite fun. John Denver's playing over the radio, and John
Yeah,
Denver died in a plane crash.
that's right. So he
And
did.
there's a scene where our main character Alex is he's at the airport taking a dump, and he hears the song over the radio, and he says, "Died in a plane crash." And I thought it's a bit awkward. He's kind of just letting the audience know.
Well, he was in the right place for that song to play, really, on the loo.
Yeah.
Wherever you gonna, if you're ever gonna hear that song getting on a plane, that's a place to be. Don't get off it.
um, there's another bit when I rewatched it. I never thought about it before, but when I rewatched it today, there's a bit that just made me laugh. It's just this little thing where the students are heading into the airport, and someone approaches one of the students to hand him a leaflet of some kind, and he says, death is not the end." And then one of the teachers gets in between them, and she says to him, "It will be for you if you harass my students." And I thought, that's a really weird threat. She's threatening to take away his afterlife. Like,
Kristen
she's saying,
Stewart.
like, death won't be the end for you if you keep harassing, or death will be the end for you if you keep harassing my students. Like, you're not going to have an afterlife. I just thought, it was only a little thing, but it made me laugh. Like, that's actually quite
Yeah.
weird when you think about it.
I wonder
Uh,
was that the writers just being deliberately dropping those in, if you know what I mean, sort of playing with audience expectations.
yeah.
Because you always have that in the apocalyptic movies, anywhere these scary movies, somebody with the sign, "The end is nigh."
Yeah.
You always have that sort of figure somewhere in the background. Even
Yeah.
in Walking Dead had one as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to ask the writer, was that sort of another teaser for what was coming?
You have to imagine that a lot of it is deliberate. There's so much of it in the
Mm.
opening, like, um. So when they get on the plane, um, we see that there's a baby on board and a disabled man, and one of the students says, "It would be a fucked up god to down this plane," and we find out that Death doesn't care who you are; he will take anyone. So
Hmm.
that was an interesting little thing, just to show that Death, he doesn't discriminate. He will take anybody.
Yeah.
Um,
There's no, you only die when you're old. People only die. It could be anybody at any time.
Yeah, he doesn't care what age you are, who you are.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting little bit. Um, the plane explosion doesn't quite match the premonition, but that's only a little thing. It doesn't really make any difference to the story, but it's just something I noticed. But it's no big deal. But you would imagine after the plane crash, you would be very suspicious of Alex.
Yeah, and that's played out
Yeah,
through the movie then with the FBI and everything.
yeah,
Like if he and he sort of, excuse me, as we said about um, knock at the cabin, you're sort of thinking, what would you do in real life if somebody came up to you and said, or if you were Alex's friend, you think Alex has lost it,
yeah,
and you go, nah, and then I think it would probably take a couple of bodies then to convince you something might be going on, or he's actually a killer and he's cracked or something.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, poor Alex doesn't get a good run of this at all, no matter what
No,
he tries to do. And the two FBI agents, I just laughed. All I could do was laugh at them too, because like you just know they did not go through no academy. One of them looked like the one with the glasses looks like he was bullied in school, so this is his chance to bully people in an interrogation room. That's
yeah.
the impression I got of him. And then the other one was like Steven Seagal's love child. He was real. He, he had his hair all slicked back and he's crouched on the table going,
One of them was called Agent Shrek.
yeah, I'm actually look. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what he was. Agent Shrek was Steven Seagal's love child,
There you go. I could
and
never
Agent
remember.
Wine.
Go on.
No, Agent Wine was the nerd that was bullied at school. Now he became an FBI agent to get his revenge on people. Yeah, so I thought that was a nice, bit of fun thing in a way. You always have a sort of comedic characters in it,
Yeah,
but these two are like supposed to be the adults, the serious, respected figures in the movie, and you just looked at them and, nah, no chance, no
yeah,
chance. Because Steven Seagal's love child says, he gives me the creeps.
yeah.
And for a minute, I almost believed him. And then the other guy goes, do something. You give me the creeps. Oh, great working relationship.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was funny. So after the plane crash and after Alex saves a few of the students and one of the teachers, Death waits 39 days before kind of taking action. I always wondered why it was 39 days afterwards. Perhaps Death requires a bit of prep time, I don't know. But I was wondering if the number 39 was significant
Meant
for,
something.
yeah.
I don't know. I was looking at the cast poster and I was thinking, well, maybe it's because there's 6 people. It's only five, I think.
Yeah.
Five survivors.
Yeah, there's
I don't know.
Alex. One of them is called Clear Rivers, which is a very interesting
Aye,
name. And Carter.
Horton,
Yeah, and then the teacher, Miss Lawton, Luton, Luton or Lawton? I think it's Luton.
Luton.
Yeah,
Luton. It was like, I could think, when you said Miss Luton, I could think of the road sign in England.
yeah.
Let's go to Luton.
And we have, of course, the Tony Todd's character, the coroner, called Bloodworth,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a great name.
It's not full the Tonys there, really. You have to have Tony. Was awesome. Still is awesome in his movies. I mean,
Oh yeah,
sorry I didn't get to meet him. I was he was here in Ireland a few years ago, but I didn't get the chance to go and
I
meet
would
him.
I would have loved to have met him for sure.
Yeah,
He's got such.
because
Go on.
yeah, because of his I would say because of the Star Trek stuff as well. It wasn't really for Candyman for me. It
Right.
was um it was Star Trek. He did absolutely brilliant characters in Star Trek. Jake Sisko is an adult in one of the best episodes ever called The Visitor in Deep Space Nine. He was Worf's brother, Kern the Klingon. He was a Hirogen, a 7-foot hunter in the Delta Quadrant against Captain Janeway. He could turn his hand to anything. He's just good at what he does
Yeah,
or did.
I love Candyman. That's mainly what I know him from. I think he's fantastic in it, and he's got such a great voice for horror. Like,
Yeah.
name someone with a better voice for horror.
Can't actually off the top. Oh, Vincent Price would be the only one I would say.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, the Vincent.
We
Um,
we will put them joint first.
yeah, definitely those two. James Earl Jones is more sci-fi. His voice is sci-fi and Lion King, that sort of voice. But Tony, there's a menace. Did you ever see him in Hatchet?
No, that's been on my list. I hear it's good fun.
Uh, son. you come to the right house. Go to the website. There's a wee article on Hatchet.
Oh,
There's actually a
perfect.
couple of articles on Hatchet.
I will.
There's
I'll read your article in preparation for the movie.
there's four of them. The first two are literally the one movie. It's like the same story continued.
Yeah.
Whereas he's in the first one, uh, he's as like a voodoo priest thing, and he's no more voodoo than I am a 6 foot Eskimo. It's all a big scam. And then in the second one, he's more central to the plot, and there's a whole reunion of all horror icons. Kane Hodder, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface. Off the top of my head, that's the three that
Yeah.
I can think of, but they're all in the movie.
Yeah.
Adam Green was it? I think it was Adam Green wrote directed. But Hatchet one and two of my favorites, and they're ones I can watch again and again. And it's the second one especially. Danielle Harris is in the second one. That's the other one. Do you remember Halloween?
Yeah.
Freddy's or not Freddy's niece, God forgive me. Michael Myers' niece that turned into a killer.
Yeah.
She's in it as well in the second one.
Right.
She's the heroine. Like they're definitely watchable, and
Brilliant.
there's so much. This first second one's so much fun,
Yeah,
so
I
much fun.
heard that. I'm looking forward to watching them, and
Mm.
quite gory. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Brilliant.
easily turned. Don't go in, but it just works so well. It's just two really good films that you have to actually watch in succession because they are the one story.
Brilliant. So in Final Destination, there is how many kills? What's which of the kills is your favorite?
Um, I'm just looking at them here. So Miss Lawton was one. Do you know what? It might actually be. I'll just get his character's name. It
Shh,
might just be Todd.
Todd, the first one.
No, was he the first one? Do you know where they put the car on the in front of the train?
Oh, Shaw William Scott's character.
Yes, that's it. Billy.
I can't
Oh, so
remember
it's
his name.
Billy.
He was my
Yeah, no.
he was my
Thank
least
God for Google.
he was my least favorite character in the movie, and I was really glad when he died.
That's terrible.
I
Well,
wait,
it's the guy that got beheaded by the no when the train hit the car and all the debris was
yeah, that's
all going over the place.
Sean William
That's right.
Scott's character.
He
But
got his head. I think that one was my favorite
he
out of them all.
yeah, he didn't get decapitated. It was like from the mouth up.
Yeah, and I was like, I think it's because it was so out of the blue.
Yeah,
We knew it was coming as an audience, but they're sitting think they've just survived, skipped death
yeah,
again, and it's just gone, and you're sort of looking, that is death. It comes when it's least expected,
yeah,
and he's just thinking, "Oh, I'm all right. We'll skip the one. Who's next?" And it's actually you that's next
yeah.
off the thing. It's
But
like David Warner's decapitation in The Omen. It stayed with me for years or something. Decapitation I don't like.
yeah, I just thought his character was great, and he has lots of like inappropriate moments of humor that I just thought were silly. I didn't like it at
Yeah,
all. Yeah,
but those were those were like oh, do you know where people try and find humor in when they're
yeah,
scared,
yeah,
that sort of thing, and sort of I've I look at things as a writer as well as a fan.
yeah,
So I'm looking to see what works and going, is that a real reaction?
yeah,
So what, because I know I would do it. I find the humor in everything.
yeah,
Um, I mean, everything. I have my moments where you'd have to like deal with things,
yeah,
but I think if you, for especially a scary movie, you have it scares you, then you laugh,
yeah.
that nervous laugh, and I think the two are so hand in hand. You can't really have one without the other.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think it works for some characters. For this one, it just
Mm.
maybe it was him or his performance, but it just grated on me, and I was just glad when he died. um, so, uh, one of the other kills was as I call it, the ninja bus, where you can only hear it when it's on camera.
Yeah,
It's
shit, but that one again, you step, no, people step immediately coming to mind. I know that people that happen too. I think that's why movies, especially like it's a Final Destination, the real kills are more effective because it's bang, it's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
1 minute you're starting there, next minute you get hit by a bus.
It's effective in that
Um,
it's effective in that way where it's just so sudden and you do get that shock, but
yeah,
it is um it is bizarre how no one saw or heard it, or you don't hear it
well,
until it's on camera.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I actually did that myself. I stepped out in front of a vehicle and didn't hear it coming.
I've almost done it myself, yeah, for sure.
And I literally only the man must have brilliant brakes. But I literally I don't know what I was thinking. I was heading to work one morning and was crossing the not even the road, a side street, and walked out. And the next thing I knew was a car
Yeah.
right at my. I went, Jesus, I literally didn't even see him. So
Yeah.
for when you see deaths like that, that's what goes into my head, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And then, but that me would be more real and frightening than what happened to the likes of Mrs. Luton,
Oh,
the
100%.
teacher.
Yeah. Yeah,
So what I
100%.
mean?
I'd be more
Because
afraid of getting hit by a bus than we'll talk about Miss Luton's death in a second because I want to go through it just to
yeah.
talk about how over elaborate it is, and you
Mm.
gotta you gotta believe that Death is trolling a little bit, like he's having a laugh with the way he goes about this.
But that's probably part of the character. It's death almost being planned it out to be even more extravagant because blowing up in an airplane wasn't you escaped that. So because you escaped that and broke my plan, I'm gonna have a bit of fun with you,
Yeah,
which is why the water retreated after your
that
man hung himself in the bathroom. I thought that's actually good. If you had made that a real killer like Scream,
yeah,
um, it wouldn't have been as effective.
no,
But it's because you you have. I think it's because you have the comparable deaths. You've stepped in front of a bus to Billy getting decapitated to almost getting hit by a train to whatever happened to Miss Luton, which we'll talk about in a minute.
yeah,
So it's extremes. It's almost as if now which it will just hit you with a bus,
yeah,
but for you, you have a really long drawn out death
yeah,
planned for you. So for me, that it made it even scarier
right,
that you actually, no matter where you go and what to do, and I was looking around the house watching it, there is so many things that you could happen to you, and
I
people will think, "Oh, it was a freak accident."
yeah, I heard someone else talk about this. I can't remember where I heard it, but it made me laugh. But when watching this movie, they said it's like Death is doing trick shots. You know what I mean? It's like he's um doing trick shots with how he takes people's lives and his over elaborate
Yeah,
ways he goes about it. And I thought that was really funny. Um, but so the students, Clear and Alex, they find out all this is going on through a mortician named Bloodworth, played by the great Tony Todd. And he's like a lot of horror things do this where they have their expert who kind of info dumps on people.
yeah.
What do you think of Bloodworth? And there's lots of fan speculation as to who exactly he is. Do you have any?
I always thought, excuse me, was he an aspect? Did he know something that the rest of us didn't? Was he maybe an extension of the force of nature or whatever it is of death itself, or has he seen it before?
Yeah,
And is he? So Joe, it's that mysterious aspect of it. Um, where you sort of go, yeah, you have to look at him twice to sort of go, do you really have all the answers? Because you know he comes back like in other ones, but
yeah,
for this one, he's the coroner, and
yeah,
you would somebody in that position would see so many bodies and see so many ways that people have died. Has he actually figured it out, or is it as simple as that, or does he know something more? So that's a nice aspect to it.
yeah.
I
I've
think the
heard.
other nice aspect is, sorry, just come back to Alex, where we're talking about death potballing them all out of amusement. Because Alex got them off the plane, everything's designed to make him look like a pretty.
Say that again. You just cut out
So
there for a
it's,
second.
yeah, because Alex got them off the plane, death is arranging everybody's deaths in order to make Alex look like the killer.
Right. Okay.
So is that death taking revenge on Alex when you ruined the plan? You're getting severe kick in the balls for this one.
Maybe
So
the only thing that kind of ruins that theory for me is that Death plans on killing him anyway. So I'm not sure why
mm,
he would. Maybe just to make his life difficult before he actually takes his life. That's interesting.
it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to explain how elaborate some of the deaths are, we're going to go through Miss Lawton's death because I this is my favorite death in the movie because of how ridiculous and over the top it is. And
Yeah.
the fun thing about these movies as you go on, I think I won't spoil my opinion just yet. We'll give a rating at the end, but
Yeah.
so Miss Lawton, so it starts off. She gets frightened by a mug because there's a picture on it that reminds her of the school and then reminds her of the plane crash. So she gets a fright and she throws out the hot liquid. She then fills the mug with ice and vodka, and the mug cracks because of the heat difference. So going from really hot to really cold, the mug cracks and it starts leaking all over the place, and it leaks on her computer. There's a bit of foreshadowing here that I thought was fun, where she bends down for some reason, and just behind her there's a picture of a knife pointing down at her, to
Yeah.
foreshadow what's about to happen. Um, then what happens next? Then the liquid causes her computer to explode, and the glass from the monitor shoots out into her neck. So she's bleeding all over the place as she walks
Mm-hmm.
around holding the wound. Um, then the explosion from the PC causes the trail of vodka to get lit up. um, I'm not a big drinker, but is vodka that flammable?
I don't know. I'm not a drinker either.
I
A long time, what I used to be, but not anymore. Not in an alcoholic way, folks. Just I don't want to call it. Don't have a problem. You're all right.
yeah, when
I
I
think it. I think it might be. There's one of them, isn't there?
I don't know.
Do you know that? Do you know that thing at the bar that hit the lighter that lights up?
Ah, yeah,
My
yeah,
friend, my friend's a barman. I must ask him,
yeah.
and I'll tell you the answer in the next podcast.
In the next exciting
In the
episode.
next one.
So yeah, the trail of vodka gets lit up, and it goes
House
into the
goes on fire.
it goes into the kitchen and causes an explosion in the kitchen. And as Miss Lawton is bleeding on the kitchen floor, she reaches up for a towel to pull it down. And when she
Yeah.
does, she pulls down by accident the knife holder, and one of the knives falls onto her and stabs her in the chest. Um, but she's not done yet. Then a chair falls on the knife to embed it deeper inside her, and then this finishes the job. And then to top it off, the house explodes.
Yeah.
Just because Death's going for the high score. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to imagine Death's just having a laugh here. Like,
It is. It is. It was sort of like, and I was sitting watching it going, if I see a computer smoking, I back away. I don't lean in ever.
yeah,
Um, I don't try. I've always, do you know what? I actually always this thing about checking my cups
yeah,
and rinse them out and make sure there's no dust or anything or no, it's not chipped. I can't drink out of a chipped mug or anything.
yeah,
So she's running about with the mug hanging off, not even noticing. Seriously.
yeah,
Um, and then the knives in our house, probably yours as well, are sitting against the wall on our table on our counter, so you can't actually hang tea towels on them at the edge, so you can pull down. No, it is. It's set up to be OTT,
oh, absolutely.
but I love the comparison, as I said, about the simplicity of being hit by a bus
Yeah,
to the OT over the top. Um, and the fact that Alex runs
yeah,
in the middle of it and lifts the knife up and he's standing as if he's the classic killer.
yeah.
Then looks at it and drops. Do you know what I mean? So
He leaves his fingerprints all over the
yeah,
mug, all over the weapon.
which you talked about ropey writing. Actually, that's one. I mean, his footprints don't burn, and the knife still they still find the knife with his fingerprints on it, even
I
though the
I
house
would
is
have
on fire.
I would have loved to see a version of this where the house doesn't explode and they're investigating the house afterwards, trying to figure out
Yeah,
what the fuck did you do to this lady? Like,
yeah. And the fact that somebody sees him leaving um, also makes him look guilty because the minute he runs out the door, the whole house goes kaboom.
yeah, was it Clear who seen her? Clear Rivers, was it her?
No, it was the guy in the back. I think it was Todd. Was it
Oh, it might. No,
the
Todd.
guy, or
Todd.
was it
Todd was the
or
first
Billy?
one dead, wasn't he?
Oh, it was Billy then, because he was going somewhere on his bike,
Yeah.
and Alex came running out of the house, and he sort of assumed, "What did you do?" So, wasn't me.
um.
But it's so coincidental. It's almost like it's like one of them those cop movies where they're set up.
Yeah.
No, the hero's been set up by the villain. Only in this case, it's nobody's going to believe that Death actually set this guy up to think he is the serial killer. It's like Freddy Krueger manipulating things so that the kids all end up in a mental hospital and
Yeah.
everybody thinks they're crazy and they're killers.
I
It is a good aspect to it.
I do love the idea of Death being pissed off at Alex for ruining his plan.
Yeah, like you don't, you're not getting away with it. There's only one way it's going to end for you, and that is kaboom with everybody else. It's just finding out where your place is
Yeah.
in the chain of events.
Yeah. There's
Because remember, we didn't see him die actually. Do you remember?
didn't see who died.
Alex. Alex never died in this film.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So him and Claire Rivers, her and Claire Rivers were still alive at the end of it,
Yeah.
but it was the other guy Carter who ended up being killed at the very end.
Yeah.
But again, that was, remember we're talking about twists in the last couple of movies, Sting and Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah.
This was the twist, and also, oh, we're going to have more sequels.
Yeah.
So that part is sort of like, okay, it's 6 months later, so why did Death? It's almost like your question about 39. Why did it wait so long
Yeah. And you also
to
have to
skip that?
wonder, like, why does Death need to kill them like this? Why not just make them all have heart attacks one by one?
Yeah,
But then the movie wouldn't be as fun. It wouldn't be as
no,
interesting.
wouldn't be.
That's the
It'd
quick.
be,
That's the
it'd be very
quick.
short.
Yeah, exactly.
Six people dropping dead of heart attacks.
Yeah.
The end. Oh, yay! Took them months to write that one.
There is some bits of character in here. There's not a whole lot of really deep character work in this movie, but there's some bits here and there that I like. So Carter's character, I like. So Carter, he really doesn't like the idea of not having control over his own destiny. So he's like,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to be told he's next on a list and he's gonna die and all this kind of stuff. So, when they're all in a car, he starts speeding up and he says, "I might as well go out on my own free will." He's speeding up the car and he's ignoring stop signs and everyone's trying to get him to stop and
Goes hands free and everything.
yeah.
I was like me in that roller coaster, remember, to the accident. Nearly get sucked out.
Just like yourself. And
That's our final destination.
he says, I decide when it's time. They do finally get him to stop
Yeah.
and pull over onto the train tracks. And we'll talk about what happens there in a second. But I thought that was a neat little character bit where, you're told death has a design and, your destiny is to die in this order. And the idea of someone struggling with not having any control over that.
Yeah.
I like
everything's destiny.
yeah, I like that they touched on that.
Well, I think God's letting me away with it because I should have been dead half a dozen times at this rate, so I'm still here. So I'm all right. I think I'll be in Final Destination 37 or something.
You just keep cheating death.
Just keep cheating. But the thing about Carter, again, as I said the last time, you watch a movie, but I'm actually watching a movie this time. I'm looking at all the details, real details.
Yeah.
And Carter for me was very much the Hudson character in Aliens, Bill Paxton's character,
Yeah.
the big tough guy who was freaking out, and the little girl was much more sensible, much more grounded than the grown man, sort of thing. So, but all the rest of them, I think, were pretty standard. one sort of dimension. There wasn't anything really to them.
Yeah,
And then when he pulled up on those train, well, he wouldn't have had to ask me twice to get out because I'd have left him.
yeah,
Not sitting yo ho.
yeah.
I'd have been out.
Death fucks with his seatbelt buckle or something, doesn't he? And he can't.
Yeah,
He's
yeah. And
um,
it
but
looked it looked a bit too close.
yeah,
When I watched it, it was almost like the train's there, but they literally got away with inches. I don't know. I'd like to see somebody lose a leg or something there
yeah. I think yeah,
because
yeah.
it was literally so close.
It was very very close. So just before this, Carter's asking Alex who's next because they have found out that Alex knows who's going to die in what order,
Mm.
but Alex doesn't answer. And I think the main reason the writers didn't have him answer is because they wanted this to be a surprise. They
Yeah,
want
the
they
next
want
killer.
they want the audience to think maybe Carter's going to go next, and then they save him. But it's not actually him. Oh no, it was supposed to be him, but
It
they
was
did
him.
save
It
him.
was supposed to be
And
him.
then death
Yeah, and
skips.
then it skipped him.
Yeah, death skips right to Sean William Scott's character, whose name I can't remember.
Billy.
And
Billy Hitchcock, believe it or not.
Billy Hitchcock.
Billy Hitch. There's Alfred's wee lad, sweet grandson. Didn't
uh,
end well for you, son.
but yeah, like you were saying, some of the sudden deaths are very effective. Where just
Mm.
something happens out of the blue. Like to me, the scariest one, as we were saying, is the bus.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Because it's
yeah.
the amount of people. Like I've lost 4 friends in the last 6 months.
Oh Jesus.
All through. One was ill. Well, two were ill. One just died, and the other one took a pain in his leg, and he was about 10 years younger than me. Loveliest fella,
Yeah.
trained kids and did football and everything, and it was a blood clot.
Oh Jesus.
A blood clot.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Like, excuse me, training the kids at football, and just died there and then. And that's the scary thing for me. And it's a question that I've always. My parents died in very different ways. One when he was dying, and the other one just died, sat down in a chair and died. And the debate for us, not debate, but the sort of thing, how would you want to go?
Yeah.
I go, did you want? Would you want to know, or would you not want to know? I think it's a question you can't really answer,
Yeah,
really, because my
because
brother died. Yeah, sorry, my brother died a year and a half ago.
oh
My mum sat in her chair on a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. I knew something was wrong.
yeah.
As hand up and go, I knew something was wrong. I just sat down and died. Our Martin went to bed and died in his sleep. So
Yeah.
you're sort of going, well, that's not a bad way to go. Not
Yeah.
to bring the podcast down, but you sort of go, yeah, I think the girl with the bus got a better death than Miss Lawton, really, at the end of the day. So I know I'd rather go that one. That one.
Yeah.
Decapitation, at a touch, but we'll go with the bus. We don't want to be in an exploding house after we've been knifed,
Just
after my throat's been cut,
just
after the glass in my eye. Ugh.
after as soon as possible, like
Yeah. So it's a movie that sort of makes those questions. Who's got the best death in it? I think whoever got the easiest death, which would be the bus.
yeah. But who's the first? Todd's the first one, isn't he? In the shower. Um,
Yes, that's right. Yes,
like
he's the
when
guy with the water.
yeah. So he trips. He slips on the water into the bathtub. He gets the thing wrapped around his neck, and he's struggling to
Yeah.
get out of that. Um, in that scene, you can imagine that maybe there was more he could have done. I'd have to watch it back again, but I remember thinking that, is there more he could be doing here? What do you think?
Uh, See, he goes in. Well, first of all, people, do not walk around a bathroom or a house in your bare feet where there's water. Always check the floor for water, especially in the
Yeah,
bathroom. It's a
yeah,
hazard. We're
yeah.
just That's Owen's friendly tip for this week, the housekeeping tip.
Oh, I have another.
But
I have another tip. Don't
right,
don't
go.
don't shave when you're already clean shaven. He goes to shave, but he doesn't even have a bit of stubble on
I know, please. Have more in my legs, or have my stump anyway. Um, but was he not getting washing or so? He had washing hanging up above the bath as well, didn't he? And he went to get that, and he tripped, slipped in the water, went in head first in the bath. I think
him.
that's how he caught himself around the shower head
And he starts panicking.
and starts panicking. Um, we can assume that the bath was slippy, but if I know it's probably if it was slippy, I
No,
think the instant
it does show that.
no the washing,
I think it's showing his feet trying to get grip, but it
and it
can't.
slides because
Yeah,
probably because the washing that was hanging up above the bath was dripping into the bath and make it slippy. But yeah, it's I mean you hear that as well. People fall in the bathroom, but they usually fall through shower doors.
yeah,
Um, but again, this is the thing. Oh, this guy's the first to die, but he committed suicide because of survivor's guilt,
yeah. And
which is
then
death.
what was awful was the dad puts that on Alex.
Yeah, yeah.
He
They
blames
always need
Alex.
somebody to blame. Yeah,
Yeah. So a lot of people are blaming Alex. Um, so Alex's journey is basically he gets these premonitions, he saves a bunch of people, and then everyone thinks he's a freak, and other people are really suspicious of him, as you probably would be. So
yeah.
he's burdened with the responsibility of saving people when death
You
tries
can.
to tick them all off his box, basically. Um, and Alex believes that through his premonitions he can cheat death's design, using these visions.
Mm,
But in the end, we learn that death is inevitable because you can skip it, but he'll just come back round.
yeah. It's just how long it takes them to do that.
Yeah,
So why it's the time. I don't think that's ever actually been explained. Um, Maybe again, it's part of the character for death. Haha, you thought you've all survived, you beat me,
yeah,
but we'll let you sit for a few months,
yeah,
think you're gonna have a lovely life, and then hello Paris, bye bye, wee wee.
yeah. You got. I see death as being a troll in this movie for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it works. I think it does work. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah,
It was the best decision they actually made for Final
yeah,
Destination. I think that was the best. I think that's why it spawned so many sequels because they didn't have to do what Scream does: come up with a killer,
yeah,
come up with a reason. It's death. It's coming for all of us.
yeah. It's
It's
death
just how you're
himself.
gonna go out.
Um, yeah, I thought it was a really good decision. I know some people.
Mm,
I've heard some people say that they would have liked death as a physical figure, showing up with a cloak or scythe or whatever. But I I like this, and it was such a unique concept for its time.
yeah.
The idea of
What's
you cheat
what
death.
we're still talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Um, and there's a new one coming out, Final Destination
That's right.
Bloodlines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited to watch it?
I'll have to watch it though, certainly. Definitely. Yeah. I want to see, they say it's going to be slightly different. I want to see why. When they talk about bloodlines, the first thing comes to mind is the descendants of people from the movies.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah.
but but the sort of problem is they're all dead. So who did they actually procreate with before? See what I mean?
They're probably
So
all
how
like
long death?
distant cousins or something. I don't know.
How long death? I just had a wee shag here before dying. Oh, not a bar. You just carry on. Hold the bus. Hold the bus. Hold the bus.
Oh,
There's a
jeez.
man. There's a man working here. Hold the bus. Then bang. So I don't know, but I mean that's just having a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
But I can't
I
wait.
can't remember if we
Really
mentioned
can't
this
wait.
already, but this was originally an X-Files script, wasn't it?
Was there something about that, or was it
And the two agents
me?
are like, we're going to be like Mulder and Scully investigating this thing.
Or the who Steven Seagal's little child and the nerd?
Yeah, Shrek and Seagal.
Oh, I don't know. And now here's me's number one fan of the X Files.
Yeah, it's
But you know what? It works. It would have worked as an X Men.
that's right. I heard this was originally an X-Files script, um, and they decided to make it into a feature film.
They probably did the right thing, I think.
Yeah, so that'll bring us up to, we're gonna give this film a rating. So we're going to explain a rating system. So we got A, B, C, or D. A is absolutely watch it. B is bloody good movie. C is could be worse. So not a great movie, but you could definitely find worse. Give it a go. Or D, do not watch. So Owen, how would you rate Final Destination?
Uh,
Now, um, I would like to give it an A because I really liked this movie when it came out. I really enjoyed it. I loved the concept. in terms of its actual quality, I would give it more a C. But I just because I don't think there's enough character work, um, or there's not enough. There's it's got its plot issues, but I don't think it does enough to bump it up to a B or an A. But I would be more than happy if someone suggested throwing this on at Halloween. I'd be like, yeah, I'm game ball. Um, and I really like it for its concept. I would say, um, yeah. So C, you could absolutely find something worse to watch. Give it a go. You might love
Stick with it, folks. You heard it here first.
it.
Just an answer to was it based on the X? Not based on the X Files. It was originally an X Files script, which was rejected.
Yeah. Oh, it was
And Reddick,
rejected. I didn't know that.
yeah,
I thought.
Jeffrey Reddick, was started as a spec script for the X Files in 1994,
Ah,
and then Reddick said he had written it,
yeah.
but they didn't really take it. It was called Flight 180,
Ah,
inspired by a magazine story about a man who had a premonition, got off a plane, and
wow.
later found out it had crashed.
Jesus.
And here we are, how many
I
years later, doing the new destination, Final Destination.
yeah,
Awesome.
I would have jumped on that concept. But
I wonder what's to do with it because you did 26 episodes a year in those days.
yeah.
I wonder if it just didn't. Maybe they didn't have. Well, no, I was going to say it would have worked because they would have had the budget. All it is really is setting up weird deaths because I've been binge watching the X Files recently, up
Nice.
until yesterday actually, and it is still one of my favorite. And you know I bought comics last week,
Yeah.
but it's still one of my favorite shows. There's a handful of shows that have grabbed me from episode one.
Yeah.
X Files. I was working at a video shop at the time, and it was a lot at night time. We used to put on a tape, no, just for sex. It was dead quiet in the last hour. I never closed that shop as quick in my life after watching the first episode of X Files.
Yeah.
It scared the life out of me. It was so creepy. It was that
Yeah.
um there's something in the forest. What's in the forest? And then Beyond the Sea with Brad Dourif, where Scully's father died, and then she sees him sitting in the chair talking to him.
Yeah.
That happened to me. I tell you, I was away, but I'd fallen in love X Files and stuck with it all the way through because it was so creepy. So it would have worked, but we wouldn't have had the franchise of Final Destination. So I'm glad it was rejected. Sometimes everything happens for a reason,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Well, we've
you
seen
know,
in
well,
this
you
movie
don't
everything
plan it
happens for a
right.
reason. Death has its design.
I death, I'll just have a heart attack. Thanks very much. Don't be putting me in no planes or buses or anything. I'm quite just no,
I just
no,
hope
don't want
when
that.
Death takes me, he makes it entertaining. He does his best trick shot.
Well, everybody said as I said, about 13 lives and like Doctor Who, that when I go, it's going to be the freakiest accent you ever heard in your life. And I went, oh
It'd be the most elaborate
no.
death anyone's ever heard of.
Well, it'd be like a meteor from space hits me in the head, and then I'm infected with an alien. And, oh God, I'll be something. But yeah, we like the Final Destinations. They're rewatch. Can you watch it again? Yes, you can. I
Yeah.
think that's because
Yeah.
it's not a one trick pony.
I
If you like the gorge
I know
and knock at the cabin,
I know a C might seem like a low rating, but I do like this movie.
yeah,
And the sequels are fun. I would say this is the best of the bunch in terms of pure like consistency and writing quality, and it probably
yeah,
has the least amount of writing issues out of the lot, I would say, for sure. I haven't seen the third one in a while, so but I can't imagine it's the better one. But we'll
I
see. We'll
think,
find out. We're gonna cover Final Destination 2 next. So I
yeah,
have that lined up to rewatch, and I'm looking forward to it. I remember being entertained by it.
yeah. A funny, we're just talking about cash. If you, for its time, Kristen Cluck that played Mrs. Lawton was huge at that time in series Space Beyond. And she was also in an X Files episode as a reincarnation of a lost love of Mulder's from the
Oh,
Civil War.
Oh,
So Kristen was big news at that time. And Kerr Smith, who played Carter, I think it's One Tree Hill. I think it's One Tree Hill. He was in, of course, that was massive as
he
well.
was in. I believe he was in Dawson's Creek as well.
Was it Dawson? Well, say that just shows who was watching it. You were, weren't you? You were, you were climbing in windows and everything, weren't you? Tell
No,
the truth.
no comment.
Say, caught on.
No comment. So Owen,
He was a Beverly 90210 as well, folks. Just saying.
listen, he's a handsome dude.
So am
I
I.
mean,
Please.
you didn't pay me that much, Owen. So
Oh no, you're getting no more after that. Let me tell you.
so Owen,
Yeah, good fellows.
tell everyone where they can find you.
Um, Hopefully not under a, a plane or anything, or a set of knives, or a trash car, nothing like that. You can find me on my website, Time Warriors and Beyond. Facebook, Owen Quinn, the Time Warriors author, as well as Instagram, Time Warriors author, Twitter, and Threads.
Awesome. So as always, we'll put them in the description. And you said you were working on something today. Are you able to give us a little teaser?
Uh, it's in book five. We meet. There's one of the new big bads introduced in book five. The hard thing about bringing a big bad back is having a good story.
Yeah.
So I brought one of them back, but I've twisted it. So it is inspired by the black hole, where they find a ship trapped on the edge of, impossibly trapped on the edge of a black hole.
Yeah.
But what's on board is going to be. They thought the nightmare was over. The nightmare has just changed shape.
Excellent. Well, that sounds really
And it's
exciting.
called the wasting. It's called the wasting.
Very cool. So you can follow me at Stephen Carey Stories on Instagram, and I started a TikTok because someone recommended jumping on TikTok. So check me out on there if you have TikTok. I'm still getting used to it.
Are you? Somebody does that said that to me to do no for adverts for I know, folks, as you can see on our social medias, we put pictures of our covers up and stuff and say, please buy these on Amazon, etc. But somebody recommended doing that on TikTok as wee videos, no, like
Hmm,
30-second videos.
yeah.
No, like me putting up the latest book, The Wolves of Chernobyl, up with the camera going, move over, doctor. There's a new gang in town, no stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you know what? Give it a go.
I feel such a traitor.
It's a it's another it's another way of getting yourself out there.
It's
So
another avenue, yeah.
yeah,
And
give it a go.
people, as you say, people get to see you, get to know you,
Yeah,
and hopefully, it's just us two sitting having a bit of crack
exactly.
over movies.
Exactly. So if you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share if you know someone who might enjoy the video. And we should be uploading something again next week,
Yeah.
which should be Final Destination 2. So give us a few days to watch it and take notes, and then we'll bump that up. And we're definitely going to do 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll see from there.
If
and,
we
uh,
can, if we can, if we
and
can find number four, because it's not on Netflix.
yeah, one,
It's
two, three, and 5 are on
maybe
Netflix.
Death took it. Mm.
Some elaborate way of deleting it from Netflix.
Yeah. So
Um,
it's the second one with the logs.
yeah. So,
It
well,
is. See, I have a story
yes,
about that, but I'll keep that for the next one.
keep that for the next one. I really like
Yeah.
that opening, so I'm excited to talk about it. And then when we're finished watching the 3, we'll rate the 3 in terms of quality, and then we'll rate them in terms of just pure enjoyment, and
Yeah.
we'll see if they line up. Okay, thanks again to Owen for jumping on, and we shall see you again soon. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.